driving things for Tableau visualization side. We have seen some of the features in Tableau which could help us creating some of the very essential data reports out of Tableau. So today we are going to move towards data connection. So basically till now we have used the by default provided data sources for all our connections. But ultimately we would like to connect to our actual data which is out there and do the same reporting we're doing till now. Right? That's not the basic reporting. So Tableau has a lot of options to connect to various data sources, but like I'm telling from the beginning, they look pretty same. Okay, so we're just going to see today one example of how do we connect to a relational database using Tableau and see what all options are presented to us and how do we start with that. Okay. So I'm going to use Postgres here, database for our use case, but they are all same actually. So any relational database will work as what we are seeing here. So that includes DB2 or for that matter Teradata, Netezza, Oracle, MySQL. Any relational database will have the same concepts like what we are discussing today. Okay. So let's start Tableau 9.0. So every database have some tools to help you connect to, right? So if you would have used Oracle, you can use a Toad or Oracle SQL Developer, right? So the same thing, I'm using Postgres, this PG admin tool. MySQL has MySQL Workbench. So everyone has something or the other. So I have a database called DVD Rental, which has some of the tables which we are interested in. Okay, reporting on. So these are the 15 tables country information of. So this could be better seen in using the PDF here. So this is basically data model for DVD rental. There is a company which rents DVD, so this is what it captures, the OLTP application. Okay. So the table we are interested in will be like payments. Right? So there is a payment for a customer who has a customer ID. Then there is a rental ID. Okay, and then how much amount is paid on which date. Okay, it's a very simple fact table kind of setup. So let's see how we can ingest this data into Tableau. Okay. So till now what we have done, we have connected to our saved data sources, right? But now we are going to create our own. Okay. So you can go to connect to a server and there is a more server. So you can see there are a lot of options. Okay. So these options are basically based on native database driver and all. Okay. So when you say Oracle and you connect with Oracle, so Tableau use the performized native drivers to connect to Oracle and get data for you, something like that. That's why, as much as possible, they have given connectors for each and every database separately. If you don't find your database here, you can always use ODBC. There is no stopping us. So if there is some new database you are working on, it's not in their list, you could always go for ODBC. Okay. Now, you need drivers to connect to databases. Okay. So I have also added a list here. There is a driver download list. You can go to website and see all the drivers. So like there is one for Amazon Aurora, there is for Amazon Redshift, for EMR there is one. Okay, for everyone, every basic database there is a driver here. Green Plum, for IBM DB2, there are drivers for Access. So whenever you're connecting a database, first come here and see whether you have a driver or not. Install. So actually for Postgres, I have already installed the driver. If you're doing Oracle, by default, I think Oracle is the one which is shipped. But if it's not there, you can always come and download from here. Okay. So yeah. So if you see, all databases give you same options. So let's say I click on Oracle. It will ask you server name, your SID or service name, port, username, and password. Right? If I use Teradata, it's same. Give server, username, and password. If I use DB2, same. So basically, um, for connecting a database, concepts are same, right? So you gave the server, host, port, and password. Okay. In our case, we would like to connect to Postgres. So I'm going to give you server. This is installed on my local machine. So server will be localhost. Port is default. Database is which one? The name is DVD rental, right? This is the database I'm going to connect to. So DVD rental. And there is a username, Postgres, and password. That's it. So we are in. So as soon as you connect, you are presented with all the list of tables, okay, which are there. And you can drag whatever tables you want. Okay, so let's say I want to drag customer table. So just drag customer onto the this pane. Okay, I'm going to do it. Just going to do undo and doing again. So you can see drag tables here. So you can drag customers. Okay. So as soon as you drag a table, you are presented with all the columns of that table here. Okay, you can rename if you want here, or you can delete a column. You don't want customer ID, you can just hide it or rename it. Okay. If you don't like data type, you can change it, number, whole. Okay. So these things can be done when you ingest data here itself. Okay. So I can go to sheet now. So once you drag a table, you can go to sheet here, go to worksheet. Okay. So you can see the same window is presented to us, which we are seeing it till now, right? There's no difference. So by default, whatever information is out there in customer is brought in as Tableau data connection. Okay, and he has done by default segregation of dimensions and measures for you. Okay? So this active is categorized as measure. So might be it's wrong. Let's see what is active. So I double click. Okay, I'm just saying I don't want sum of active. And I will do on first name and last name. Okay. So I think active looks something like 1 or 0, whether it's active or not, right? The particular customer is active or not. So it's a flag. It's not kind of measure. So one of the things which Tableau does is by default, he will categorize all the numeric attributes as measure. Okay. So we don't like that. You just drag and put it on stairs. Okay. So now our active also becomes dimension. Right? That's fine. Okay. So you can start your reporting, right? It's the same thing. I can just do first name, last name, okay, and anything I want to see, customer ID, email, store ID, those kind of things. Right? So this things never changes, right? That's what I was trying to say. So once your data is in, you have a data connection. After that, it's all Tableau, which you're doing till now. You can use all the feature like sets. So Tableau hides that layer from you. So now after this, I don't know if it's a DVD rental or what table I'm querying, what's happening in the backend. We'll see if that gets to that. But as we have seen till now, after your data is in, there is no difference. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. So we can go back to our data source, right? So I can do much more than this. Okay, I can create a complex data model here because customer is not the only database I'm interested in, right? So let's delete this. Okay, so let's try to analyze the payments part of this data model. Okay, so I'm going to drag the payment table. Okay. Now payments are connected to customers, right? So payment ID, there is a customer ID. So I'm going to drag now customer table. So you can see by default when you drag, he creates a join for you automatically based on your data model. So if you click on this two circle symbol, you get option whether you want to do inner join, left outer join, right outer join, full outer join. I just want to do inner join on customer ID equal to customer ID. So this is correct, right? There is no need to change. So there is a customer ID, then there will be a staff ID, right? So I have to get the staff table. So this is staff, you just drag it. Again, by default, there is a join, inner join staff ID equals to, that's correct. But you can change it, okay? If it's not correct, you can choose whatever you want. So I want the staff ID, that's fine. So the customer staff, this is a rental ID. So I'm going to take rental, where is rental? Rentals. Okay. So here you can see he has connected rental to customer, but that's what we don't want, right? We want rental to be connected to this payment. Okay, so you can change this now. So click on rental. So I want to delete this. You can delete this, and now you have option rental ID from here is connected to rental ID from here, right? So this is like rental ID, and from here I want payments rental ID. So inside payment, you have to select rental ID. So we have all the tables connected, right? So payment has customers, staff, rental. Okay. And if you want, the customers have addresses, right? The customers connected to address. So what I can do is I can add address here. So customer got connected to address. So I just want one address ID from customer. Connected to address ID here. Now further, this address has city, city has country, right? So addresses will be connected to city, and city will have countries. Okay. So you can see. So essentially, this can be any complex data model you want. Okay. So if you're a dimension model, you can create here start schema. So once you have this ready, now Tableau can figure out joins and everything automatically once you start creating data connection. Okay. It's very simple and handy to use, right? You could drag and drop and create your data model. So this requires understanding of your existing data model because this is your business, right? So we are interacting with a particular data warehouse or you are interacting with a particular data mart application. You need to focus on that particular data model. So you need understanding how they get joined or what's there. So now we are ready to analyze this, right? So let's go to sheet. I'm going to just clear this one out. Okay, so as usual, he has done segregation. So see, all the tables come as separate dimension here, right? Staff, city, country. Okay. Okay, so he has done some of the hierarchies by default for us, and I can just there's city ID, address, staff. So basically, they are all tables. Okay. Amount is coming as measure. So that's perfectly fine, right? So you're good to start. So let's say you want to analyze uh, the payments made by customers or anything. Let's say I want to check payment by country, right? So by country and payment, I want to do, I want to see the results. That's it. This looks like a very big DVD rental company, right? It has operations across globe. So the highest one looks like India only. Amount is 6,035. China is the next, right? So I can drill it down by city. So I can put city in my color. Okay, so you can see this is like gone down to city, and I can just focus on a particular country. So I can say show quick filter, and I'm going to just focus on any one of them. Let's say India. Oh, it's not having India. So it's gone down to Indian map and is showing in my country, right? Ahmedabad, Delhi, India. What's happening? Okay. Now this is same, right? It's nothing is changed here. So, so that's what I was telling you in the beginning. So once your data is in, and now we have this data connection here, right? Now this will work as exactly same what we were doing with the normal testing. Okay. So Tableau figures out what's happening in the backend and giving me the results. So if I want to go back, data source, I can go back. I can say uh, this as I can change the name of this. I'll say this Postgres DVD rental. Okay. Now you can change this data model to whatever level you want. Okay. So we will always change that. Uh, you can click on this preview data source and you can get this. So that's it. If you want in future, you can change this. You can connect this local host. You can change your credentials. If something like password changes, okay, you can always go back. So basically, you can always open this connection thing. But after that, it's same. Okay. So if you want now, you can change. You can create calculated fields and all. Okay. So let's say I'm going to clear this. Let's see what about customers. Right. There's the first name and last name. I could create a combined field. So you can just say right click, create calculated field. First name plus last name. In between, I want a space. Right? So here concat operator is plus. I will say just name. See, all the calculations goes in the end. You can drag and drop wherever you want to put them. Okay. Second side has got a name field which has both of them. Something like that. Okay. I think that is gone because I did undo, right? That's why. So I can create a calculated field. I call it name. Okay, so I just want to concat first name and last name. So if you see name, yeah. So I can see amount by customer, right? I can change this to a bar graph and I can sort by amount, right? So these are my top customers, right? I can always create a set on a name. I can right click on the name attribute. I can say create sets. I want to see top 10 customers by amount, right? Top 10 amount sum. So now rest of the things are same. So I got this set created here. I can tag it on color. Okay. So if I don't sort also now in and out you got, right? These are the top 10 customers. These are the top other customers, something like that. Okay. So if you save this data connection now, okay, if you save this workbook, I will say data connection demo. So now all these things are saved with your data connection. Okay, that if you do any calculations, whatever you do, you create a hierarchy. All those are set. Okay, so by default he has created a country and city hierarchy, right? So, and he has given the globe symbol for it. Okay. So Tableau does most of the stuff by default, and it's very good. Now you don't want to show some of these things, like I don't want to give staff ID, right, to users. You can always right click and say hide. I don't want this store ID, hide, right? Something like that. So you can always hide fields, whatever you want, okay? And that's it. So it's not much different, right? So if you don't want in like this in folder structure, okay, you can always uh, sort by data sort order, and you can just say okay, so it shows a folder for each table. It keeps it tidy basically. It's good that we have one thing at one place. Right? So we can create something like I want to analyze amount by various dimensions, right? So I click on amount. I want to do it first by rental. Okay. So rental, we don't have anything much. You could do it by customers already. Yeah. So I can see, we can see number of rental by date. Right? We could analyze that. So I can see, let's say, rental ID and number of records. So that will be one. There will be not much difference. You can say customer ID and number of records. So it's showing me basically every customer how many times he rented, right? That many number of records we'll have, or how many times he had done payments, something like that. So instead of customer ID, you can always use name. Okay. And we could see it over time by payment date. So I can change this to a line graph I can make this a day. So you can see trend for every customer, right? Based on date when he did the payment. So he's done on this, and there are two records on this, something like that. Just kind of trend. So it can be any analyzation, but the main thing I would like to show is that it's same, right? So you could always practice whatever you want with your Tableau public with the save data sources. So that's more important. Data connections are kind of simple to use. Now let's see some of the other features with we have data connection. Okay, so this is data model. One thing you might have noticed that we're always connecting live to data. Okay, there's a live and extract option. What it means? So as the name suggests, uh, live means you are connecting live to data. Okay, so whatever clicks happening here, they're all going as SQL to Postgres. Okay, and he's analyzing it. So, okay, so let me show you how we can see that SQL. So you can go to help and you can say this settings and performance, start performance recording. Okay. Now you do whatever you want. So let's say I want to do by, I want to say payment. So by country and city, I want to see the amount. Right? I'm going to use this. Okay. And then I'm going to put a filter on the country. Do some clicks. Click on this. Let's say for Australia, Anglia, Algeria, Colombia. Okay. So you did some clicks, right? Now we want to see what Tableau did in the backend, what queries is sent to the database. So you can say help again, setting and performance, stop the performance recording. So as you click stop, a new Tableau report will be automatically opened for you. Where is that? We did do a stop, right? Yeah, yeah, you got it. So automatically a new Tableau workbook opens, so which has all the data. Okay. So the first thing which shows is show event taking at least in this many seconds, right? But this was very small use case, so I have to make this seconds as 0.0. So it shows you basically whatever things we have seen. It shows you in the human readable format, right? So there was a data connection used, demo, sheet one, event is geocoding, so compounding layout, how much time it takes for doing sorting data, so all those things is trying to show you timeline. Okay. So event sorted by time. So geocoding took the most time, right? Geocoding is basically putting on the map. Okay. Then there is a compounding layout, there is a sorting data, right? Okay. So if I click on query is not visible, why? Okay, I can always go to the query window and see. So I can just Okay, might be there is no query here, so it's just geocoding. Let's try to do something simple, which has, I want to use first name, last name, the combined name. Sorry, I haven't started the recording. Go to help, start performance recording. Let's do something. So I'm doing first name, last name, email, address ID, combined name, okay, number of records, something like that. Again, go to our help, start performance recording, stop it. I will get a separate sheet open in a while. Take some time to open. So what we're trying to see is we're trying to see what query was formed by Tableau in the backend. So you start the performance recording and then you stop it. Make this 0. Okay. Yeah, so this is what it takes. Executing query is 0.02. Okay. Yeah. And then you got the query. So you can see this query is very simple. What is done? He is doing customer from public dot customers. Okay, this is the, and this is in group by 1 2 3 4. So one thing to interesting here is he has not sent your first name plus last name to the database, right? So that name concatenation he has handled in the Tableau engine. So that is not sent to database. Sometimes he sent, sometimes he's not sent. So that is not kind of our concern. So depending on databases, he decides what database feature he has to use. Okay, but you can always view the query what it says. So whenever you're doing any, why you want to see the query? Because you expect some performance by connecting live to data, right? And you're not getting that. So basically, you want to see what query was sent, right? So you can always do a start performance recording, do whatever you are doing, okay, and then you can see each step what time it took. Okay, so there was one more step. So here you can see this was like complete query. Okay, here he has sent it the concatenation, customer dot that first name, that last name as a calculation. Okay, then there is a sum one, right, as number of records. So there's a payment joined with customers. Okay, on this. So based on whatever you drag and drop, Tableau decides which tables to include and join. Okay. Remember one thing here. He has just involved two tables here. Why? Because only those two are required. So this feature is called join culling. Okay. C-U-L-L-I-N-G. I have put that Tableau join culling. Okay. So these are like very standard feature in any reporting tool. Okay. Because this data model has a lot of data tables, right? So it only uses those which are required for the query. It's not going to join all. Okay. So that's one of the advantage of using the culling feature. If sometimes this doesn't work, you have to right click and say assume referential integrity. Okay. So for some databases, this doesn't work by default. Okay. You'll see that he end up joins all the table irrespective of how many you drag. Okay. In that case, you just right click on data connection and say assume referential integrity. In that case, he automatically figures out. Okay. So these are the things to watch for. If you don't see a performance, you go to window help, start the performance recording, refresh your query, again stop. You will be presented with a new, what I will say, a new workbook. Okay. And then you see what all steps are done. So there's executing query step which took this much time. You are compounding layout. Then you again executed some query. Okay. And then again you executed some query, something like that. Because we are dragging, we are just double clicking multiple items, right? So you have to spend a lot of time in some query. So it's like our whatever actions you took on workbook, everything is captured and the time is shown here. Okay. So then like 3 times query was fired. They were doing some compound layout view. So this can be also used to figure out if Tableau is taking a lot of time as compared to your query and all. Okay. So this was a very small data set, so it's not much to watch. But as your report is going to take time, this will make more sense. Okay, so this is very handy. It's kind of a very nice feature of Tableau to check for your performance benefit. But what if you don't want to send live? Okay, so sending live, like you have seen, I just create a small report and it has sent 3 queries, right, to database. You can see here it has sent 3 queries. For this query, then there is a second query, then there is a third query, right? So sometimes some source systems are very performance oriented at OLTP application. They don't want you querying always. Okay. So one option which Tableau provides, which is quite handy, is called data extract. So you go to data source, there's a live option, right? But there's an extract option also. Okay. So now if I go back to sheet, it will ask me what's the name. So I will give the default name and save. Okay. So you can see he's importing data, right? So what he has done is, now instead of connecting to live, I have an extract. Okay. So Tableau extract are like dump of your data, okay, into Tableau internal format, okay, and it stores in memory. So it's very fast. Okay. So extracting data from a live data source into a Tableau data engine will give you multiple performance. Okay. But as you might have guessed, this is applicable only for small data sets. Right? After data goes bigger, creating extracts will take a lot of time and they will not make much sense. Okay? But for small data sources, it's very handy. Okay. So you can see now it's saved. Okay. If I send you this sheet, I'm just going to save this Tableau workbook. Data connection, connecting to database. Okay. Now this comes with your data also. So if you open this now from your Google Drive, you don't need a live Postgres connection. Okay, that's the advantage. This becomes a complete package workbook which you can email to anybody, and if he has Tableau Desktop, he can just open it. So you don't need to connect to your Postgres server. If you don't have access, that's fine. Okay. That's the advantage of data extract. You can basically create a package workbook out of extract and give it the performance. Second thing is, if your database queries are very complex, and extract can give you a very fast performance. So you will appreciate that as your data becomes larger, right? Creating an extract will always give a very fast performance because it's native Tableau format, right? So if your data is in like 10 million range, 20 million range, you can still create an extract. It will take an hour or two. Once the extract is ready, you are all set to go. So here you can always change. Now use extract, right? So you could just uncheck this, it will become live. Okay, you can see the symbol has changed. I can again always say use extract. Okay, you can always refresh the extract whenever you want. Okay, so you can say extract refresh. Okay, so it will contain the replace. Yes. So it just extracted again, right? You can do an incremental extract also. Okay, something like that. You can see the history of all the extracts happened. So just full refresh happened for 14, 15, 9 rows, right? So extracts are very handy features. Okay. If you really want performance and you don't want to impact your live database, you could always use extracts. Okay. So for small data set, extracts works very, for small means like a million or 10, 15 million records, extract can still work for you. Okay. So when we will see server, we will see we can publish the data connections and extract to server. Okay, and we can share it with everybody, something like that. So those we'll see when we'll see Tableau server. But this is what extract can help you. Okay, so now when you're creating extract and using extract, there is no query happening to server, right? It's just using the local data out there in the extract and working for it. Okay, I'm going to close this. Um, One more feature is if you don't want to create data model and you have a select statement, right? So you are working with your database and you have a very complex select statement. You just want to use that as your source. Okay, it's very easy. Okay, so I can just use data and I'll just convert to custom SQL. So let's say you have this SQL with you. Okay, you can say there's a inner join and on this, so you can have very complex logic. So this statement was with you, and what I want to do is I want to add a new field here called now. Just want to get the current date. Okay, so I got this current name now. I will say current. Okay. So basically, this can be any SQL, any complex, any joins. This could be anything which you are working on your database. So you could use this to get data in from your database. So I can just copy this SQL. Okay. So let's create a new data connection. Okay. I just don't want to mess this up. Okay. So what I will do is I will add a new data connection. Again, we need to connect to Postgres. Okay. Give it the credentials. I will say localhost. Database is DVD rental. Okay. So this basically depends upon where you land up. Okay. So there is no clear distinction. So data modeling and database design is again a separate art. Okay. So database design, data modeling. So there are like data architects. There are people who call themselves data modelers. So that's a specialized role who creates all the data model for you. Okay. So sometimes those people creates all the database design and data model. They create scripts. There are specialized tools for doing that. Like there is an Erwin, ER Studio. So those could be used to generate scripts, and they are given to DBA. DBA can execute them. Okay. So you as an ETL developer or BI reporter, you just need to load data to those tables and ingest from that and create reports. Right? But sometimes you are in a small company and there is no one else, right? It's your responsibility to do everything. So you could do that. You can land up in that situation also. So if you're going for an ETL kind of ETL BI profile end to end, then they will expect you to have some knowledge of data modeling. But that's not always the case. So as a Tableau developer, you are not responsible actually. As a Tableau developer, your responsibility is that tables will be there, okay, and you will just create reports out of that. So that's actually kind of a standard Tableau developer requirement. So I hope that answers your question. Postgres and I can now use this new custom SQL. Okay. Since you're dragging and dropping, I can put my custom SQL here. Okay. It has the current timestamp and all. I can say okay. Okay. And I will say this has custom SQL query DVD rental. Okay. You go to sheet. Now you can see, you see two data connection, right? This is the data model. This is custom SQL. Right? So something what he did is he was not able to segregate it, right? So all these are the kind of dimensions. So I'm just going to drag them upstairs because they are dimensions. Okay. We are all set. Now it's the same thing, right? You can query this. Now one thing you might have noticed, he is not having any segregation of folders. Why? Because he doesn't know. So for custom query, for him is a block box. He's just going to put everything here. Okay. Now let's try to do something. Okay. So I'm going to create a report. So I'm going to start the performance recording. Setting, start performance recording. Okay. So where is it? I want to see current timestamp, last name, first name, amount. Okay. Just drag them. And I want to do a filter on anything. Let's say district. Eden. Okay. Now you go and stop the performance recording. Help. Stop performance. So whatever events we did here, it will be captured, right? Now let's see what special, if something special is done here by Tableau. Take some time to open. Okay. So I'll make this 0. So there is an executing query here. Okay. Okay, so see what's interesting he has done. So let me copy this out. Copy the data. Let me put in a notepad++. Okay, so see what's the command he has used. So select first name, last name from. Okay, and he's putting your all thing inside this. Okay, so see how bad this is for performance, right? When you use custom SQL, for him it becomes a black box. So whatever you drag and drop is going to execute this whole query, and on top of that he's going to put your where clause or whatever you're doing. Okay. But when you use the data model, what happens? He intelligently decide which tables to use and put appropriate filters, right? So that will give you a very high performance. So use the custom SQL cautiously. The custom SQL option looks very easy to use and handy, but it has the performance impact because there will be no join culling happening. So whatever you put it in a custom SQL, that will be used as your kind of table. So whatever you do here, it will be select from that complete select, right? So always all the tables will be joined, and on top of that you will put filter. The same thing, if I would have used our data model, what will happen? You will just filter from a customer, right? Or from the area where area is Eden, and you will just join address and customer table. So the unnecessary joins will be reduced. There is no need to select all these columns also for the column required. Okay. So there is second query. So you can see these are very heavy queries which are sent to Tableau every now and then, right? Something like that. So when I just select filter, also he sent this heavy query. See, select district from the table, complete query. Because I dragged district to the quick filter, correct? That's why I just send the district to the this query. So custom SQL looks nice feature, but use with caution. So you use only when you have a very complex logic. So there are some functions which Tableau doesn't have, and you want to utilize that, right? Native functions of database, then you could use that, but use it very cautious. That's how data connections look like. So for most of the parts, they are kind of one-time activity, right? So somebody is going to maintain this. So if you want to create a set or you want to create some common filter, you create your data connection, you keep on saving it, right? And then you can share this with anybody. So they can just use your data connection. They don't need to worry what SQL is written in the backend. So after that, it's your native Tableau. Now it doesn't matter whether it's Postgres or Oracle or Netezza or whatnot. So you could just use that as is. Okay, so your main focus should be on learning Tableau features of how you create visualization. Okay, data connection is like quite simple thing. That's the whole point of Tableau. It has created a virtual layer for you and hidden that in the backend. Okay. Once you have data connection, then so basically 95% learning Tableau is learning what's in the screen. Creating data connection is just 5% of that. So that's it. Now I think I'm talking continuously today for a while. So any doubts in this? So if you want to play with this, you can set up any open source database. Okay. For that matter, you can install Oracle Express also, 11G, something like that. Because Oracle has a free Express edition, which is lighter one. Okay. Or you can have MySQL or Postgres, any one of them. Okay. All of them are like open source free versions available. If you just want to have a hand at it, you could always do that. But it's not like kind of very complex, right? It's just using database and then there's a drag and drop, or you just put a select, right? So it's now your database knowledge. So when you write your select, you should know database. If there is some specific syntax, you should be taking care of. Any doubts? No? Okay. Okay, I think this is a logical point to stop today. Then we'll continue tomorrow. So this folder is uploaded there. You could have a look. Okay. So there is again separate example in the small video which I put there. So these are the different example from what I have discussed. So you could refer to that as well. Okay. And you have this sheet also which I just sent. And this is the DVD rental kind of script if you want to create this DVD rental, or you can use any demo which comes with database, doesn't matter, right? So we will go through this getting started and these two. Okay. So there is a good this white paper also, whether which one is better, in memory or live, right? So it basically discuss what we discussed. when in memory is better. In memory is basically data extract, right? So basically when your database is very slow, or when you want to offload your transaction database, you just want to don't bombard your database with the queries coming from Tableau, right? When you want it very fast, right, then the number is better. But it has some limitations where you cannot put everything in memory, right? So after the data goes, it takes a lot of time. So, but it's fun working with in memory. So it's really fast. It's like speed of thought. So if we use data extracts for large data sets, you really get a very fast performance. So now actually we are using extract here. We can do it here also. I can say extract data. Okay, so it's creating extract. It's done. Now both are using extract. They are not live. Okay. So I don't need now my Postgres to be up. Okay. So now all the query will be just Tableau native format. Something like that. Okay. So I think that's it for today. If you guys have done any doubt, then we can close the session for today. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you. Oh, I'm ending the meeting. Okay.